Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you guys are joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another Future Fight Vanguard video. Happy Thanksgiving all over the U.S. or all over the world, wherever. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you guys are spending lots of time with your family or friends or your pets or whoever you have time to spend with and eating lots of good food. I do want to take this time and say that I'm thankful for every single person who's ever stopped by my channel, and thankful for the support that you guys give, because it really does push me to go beyond, so to speak, like All Might. But yes, we're going to be getting into today's video. We're going to be continuing with V-BT05 Aerial Steed Liberation. Today we're doing the Narukami deck list, so that means that after this we have one to go, being Gold Paladin, and then we're going to be moving on. But we're going to get right into it. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell button so that you don't have to miss any future Cardfight Empire content that's going up. If you guys are interested in anime or manga or video games, definitely check out my second channel down below in the description at Let's Plays Animes on YouTube. Also check out our sponsor, Team Vision. They have a lot of Cardfight content on their website for you guys to take advantage of, whether that be strategies or deck lists or things like that for you guys. And also, if you guys want to become a premium member of my channel, there is a join button next to the subscribe button now. I would offer for you guys to check that out if that's something that you guys are interested in. I offer things like lessons and my unrevealed deck list and secret stuff that I'm working on and all that jazz. But yeah, let's get right into the video. So obviously, we're going to be talking about Narukami, like I said before. Narukami is an Accel deck, so as far as talking about Accel 1 and Accel 2, there's not really a scenario I can think of really in this deck where you don't want to go Accel 2. Accel 2 is just way too powerful unless you feel like your Accel 2 deck is going to deck out. And I don't ever feel that way in Narukami because it doesn't plus that much to deck out, but it pluses just enough to use Accel 2, and Accel 2 puts them ahead in the game. So let's start off with the grade 3s. Our first grade 3 is their new ace card, which is 4 Eradicator Gauntlet Buster Dragon. Now this card is extremely powerful and is the Horcrux of the whole deck. It has 2 Vanguard abilities. The first one is a continuous ability that says, during your turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power and a critical for each open rearguard circle in your opponent's front row. So obviously I call this deck the Accel Killer. It is named that for a reason, because Accel decks create extra circles in your front row. This card gets more powerful for empty cards in your empty circles in your front row, so therefore is innately more powerful against other Accel decks than it is against Force and Protect, because they have a limit to how many circles they can have in the front row. And then its secondary ability clears the front row, which is also pretty awesome. It is counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. You bind all the rear guards in your opponent's front row, and then if you may, so you may choose to move all of the rear guards in your opponent's back row to the front row of the same column. So what that means is that if your opponent has 4 front rows, they're playing Accel, and then they have 2 boosters behind their rear guards on the left and right side, you can actually just counterblast 1, discard 1. You get to bind all 4 units at the same time, and then those 2 units can move up so that you can bind those ones with other methods or just use Gauntlet Buster again. So obviously very, very powerful, very, very strong against Accel decks, and it does decent against Force and Protect decks. Moving on to our next grade 3, this is our backup grade 3 of the deck. We actually run 4 Thunderbreak Dragon. I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but I actually did win a Vision tournament with this. This is like where I debuted this this deck list, if you will. And so I like Thunderbreak Dragon a lot more as a backup to Gauntlet Buster, just because it allows you to do a lot more things than Drill, that Drill cannot do. So basically, running Drill and running Gauntlet Buster are like kind of weird in my opinion, just because they go for different objectives. Like I think you should run an all Drill deck or all Gauntlet Buster deck. If you choose to combine the two, that's completely up to you, but I do think that Thunderbreak and Gauntlet Buster go together a lot more swimmingly. But let's go over Thunderbreak Dragon's skills. So it has a Vanguard continuous ability that says, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, when this unit would attack, it battles all the units in your opponent's front row. So just for your opponent being at grade 3, this unit attacks the whole entire front row, which is really awesome, because when you don't have Gauntlet Buster, it's another way to just clear the whole front row without having to do a whole bunch of individual skills. Then on top of that, the Vanguard rearguard ability, which is actually my favorite part about this card, is counterboss 1, and your opponent moves each of their rearguards in the back row to an open rearguard circle in the front row, and they may even move diagonally. So what this means is if you're playing against another Accel deck and your opponent has a full back row, like let's say that you use Gauntlet Buster, the counterboss 1, you discard 1, and then you bind the whole front row, and you choose not to move the front row or the back row up, you can just Thunderbreak Dragon, counterboss 1, and then your opponent has to move all of their back row to the front row, even if it's moving diagonally. So even that center rearguard in the back behind Vanguard, you can now snipe and make it move forward. Before, in Narukami, before the set, you actually weren't able to get to the unit that's behind their Vanguard. It was essentially safe from every card that you had that could bound, but now nothing is safe anymore because of cards like Thunderbreak. So very, very good card. Going on to our grade 2s, we have 4 Supreme Army Eradicator Zuiton. This card has 2 rearguard abilities. It is directly Gauntlet Buster support, so it works very well with Gauntlet Buster. First ability is on the rearguard circle. When your opponent's rearguard is bound during your turn, this unit and all of your Gauntlet Buster Dragon on your Vanguard and rearguard get plus 5,000 power. So this makes it not so bad of an option to actually play Gauntlet Busters on your rearguard circle. If you think that you can go for a big power play turn or an ending turn, Zuiton works really great with that. Also works really good with making your Vanguard really big, and your Vanguard has a lot of criticals, obviously, so your opponent wants to do everything that they can to block the Vanguard, or a lot of times they just automatically lose. And then the secondary ability is at the end of the battle that it attacked the Vanguard. If your opponent has no rearguards in their front row, then you can put this unit into Soul and draw a card. So obviously fuels your Soul, draws you a card, gets you advantage, free. It does it after its attack, so its usefulness is over. And it just goes into Soul, draws you a card, gets you deeper into your deck, and it does a lot of great things. That's why it's the only grade 2 that we run at 4. Moving on, we have 3 Fiendish Sword Eradicator Cho-Oh. So Cho-Oh we run at 3 because we also run Recklessness Dragon, which is our other Vanguard target for grade 2. So we actually have 6 units that we can go into on grade 2 and feel okay with them being on the Vanguard circle. So Cho-Oh skills are Vanguard rearguard when placed. Counterboss 1, choose a column, and then you bind a rearguard in your opponent's front row of that column, and then you move the rearguard in the back row to the front row of that column. And so you can counterboss 1 and select Vanguard column, but it will not do anything because there's no rearguard in your opponent's front row in the Vanguard column, and then it won't move the back row unit up as well because it's in the back row of the Vanguard circle. So don't ever select the Vanguard column when you're using this skill, obviously. But counterboss 1, yeah, basically select one of your opponent's front row rearguards, bind it, and then the unit behind that moves forward. And then it has another ability that says at the end of the battle that your Vanguard attacked. If there's no rearguards in your opponent's front row, then you counterboss 1 and stand this unit. So this card's really good whether you're on Thunderbreak or Gauntlet Buster because you're going to have a clear board, or your opponent's going to have a clearer front row, ideally. So you're going to be able to get some multi-attacks off with this, which is really cool. The only thing that I don't like about it is it costs a Counterblast. I wish this card costed a Soul Blast because Counterblast is kind of heavy in this deck, but it really depends on what you're going for and what the goal is. So just 3 of those cards. Moving on, we have 3 Recklessness Dragon. It has a Vanguard rearguard ability that says when placed, counterboss 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguards in the front row and bind it. And then the rearguard ability that it has is just rearguard when it attacks a Vanguard. If there are 1 or less cards in your opponent's front row, then this unit gets plus 2,000 power. So obviously can hit excel and protect Vanguards by itself and needs a little assistance with force, but we also have like 11k boosters in the form of a Demolition Dragon, so 12 plus 11 is 23, which is obviously a great number on force, so very good. Then we run 3 Dragonic Death Scythe rounding out the grade 2 lineup. It has 2 rearguard abilities. The first one is when placed, Soul Blast 2 and choose a rearguard in your opponent's front row and bind it, and this unit gets plus 3,000 power. And then the other rearguard ability that it has is during the battle that it attacked a Vanguard. If your opponent has no rearguards in their front row in the same column as this unit, then this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So something to mention about Death Scythe with columns and its placement for power. If you place it on an Accel circle, it will always get its additional 5k when attacking the Vanguard because all Accel circles don't line up with the column. So you don't have to worry about clearing your opponent's column in front of it if they have Accel. You just get the 5k, but if it is on the left or right rearguard circle in the front row, you do have to clear their left or their right, just basically across from Death Scythe, you have to clear that front row to get the power. Moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 Demolition Dragon. This is our ideal Vanguard ride, and our backup grade 1 ride is Rai. So Demolition Dragon has a Vanguard ability that says when its attack hits a Vanguard, draw a card. So this card, this deck actually does really well going second, just because you want your opponent to be grade 3 if you happen to ride Thunderbreak Dragon, and then also if you go second, you get to ride Demolition Dragon and take advantage of its on-hit draw effect, which it can actually put you a decent amount forward in the game, even though it seems like it's just one card. Then it has a rearguard continuous ability that says if your opponent's front row has no rearguards, it gets plus 3,000 power. So obviously 11k attacker, 11k booster, really solid choice for a card. Then we have 4 Dragon Dancer Rai. This is a new card that synergizes well with Thunderbreak Dragon, which is why we ride it. It has a Vanguard rearguard ability that says when its attack or the attack that it boosted hits a Vanguard, basically if it participates in an attack that hits the Vanguard, you get to look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Thunderbreak Dragon from among them, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck, and then if you happen to get a Thunderbreak Dragon and you put in your hand and this unit's on your rearguard circle, then you may put this unit into, or then you have to put this unit in the soul. So another good thing is when you ride this card in Vanguard and you get the skill, if you find the Thunderbreak Dragon, it's just free because it's on Vanguard circle. You can't shove a card in the soul that's already your Vanguard, so very good. Then rounding out our grade 1 lineup, we're running 4 Rising Phoenix. It has a drop zone ability that says when your opponent's rearguard is bound during your turn, you may call this card to rearguard, and if you do, this unit gets plus 3,000 power. So another 11k attacker or 11k booster, and they proc and call themselves to the board whenever a card is bound and this card is in your drop zone. So very, very cool card. Obviously makes it hand fodder for you to guard, so it gives you a little more of a guard advantage because you actually have grade 1s that you want to guard with and they'll come back. If you're playing against things that retire your board, such as Kagero, Shadow Paladin, decks like that, then having Rising Phoenix on the board is really cool because they retire it. It comes right back like a Phoenix in its name. Then for our grade 0s, we run 1 Variant Draco Kid. This is our starter or our first Vanguard. Then we run 8 crit, 4 draw, and 4 heal. 4 of the newest crit Spark Edge Draco Kid, 2 Malevolent Djinn, 2 Yellow Gem Carbuncle, 4 Wavering Guard Gold as RPG draw, and then 4 Worm Toxin Eradicator Sayobo. So yes, that has been the deck profile portion of the video, and right here we're going to switch right over to the play portion of the video. Alright guys, so we're on the play portion of the video now. So as you guys can see, we have the same deck list here that I just showed you guys, so we're going to go ahead and start looking for our matches. As you guys can see, we picked Naoki, the GOAT, and already we got a match right off the bat, which is pretty unusual, but I guess maybe it's the middle of the night right now, so maybe it's like daytime in Japan. Japanese people are playing or whatnot on the go. Our starting hand is pretty trash, so we're going to put back 4 cards. And we fixed our hand. Awesome. So we're actually playing against Kagero, which is like our sister clan, if you will, in retiring it, or control at least. So we ride Rai, we draw a card from our starter, and then we're just going to end our turn. So our opponent rides Bar, plays this rearguard to the back row. I don't really know what it does, but it seems like it gives 3k to 2 units in the same column. So we're gonna no guard. 22 is obviously too big to be blocking. Our opponent does check a critical trigger, so good on them. Good first start to the game for them. We take 2 damage. First check Gauntlet Buster. Second check draw trigger, nice. So we did get a draw trigger off of that. So worth. We're about even right now. Alright, so draw for turn. We are going to ride Cho-Oh. Not use To's skill because he doesn't have a front row. And we're not going to call these Death Scythes either. But we are going to call this Rai to the back row. And then we're going to go into battle phase and attack with Cho-Oh to Vanguard for 17. We drive check at Cho-Oh. Damage check. Nothing. And then we get to activate Rai. Hopefully we find the Thunder Break, because we are playing against Kagero. Yes, so we do find the Thunder Break, so that's amazing, and I'm going to explain why. Most likely our opponent's going to ride Berserk Dragon, and then it would be nice to, for not to have a rear guard for him to retire. Okay, so either way, didn't ride Berserk Dragon, but he did ride the Dragonic Overlord Searcher card, and that would have retired our rear guard as well. So very good that we got it out of the way. Our opponent goes in for 21. We are going to no guard that. Alright, our opponent didn't check a trigger, but I have no idea what that card was. Alright, so now since we're going first and we are able to ride Gauntlet Buster, we're going to be able to swing the game a little bit more in our favor. So we're going Cell 2 here, obviously like I stated before. And then we are going to start off playing our Thunder Break here. We're going to use Thunder Break skill to make him move that back row rear guard to the front. And then we are going to play this Thunder Break here. And play this Death Scythe here. Go ahead and use the Soul Blast 2 to bind that grade 1 that we just moved to the front row. And then our card gets 3k. And then we are going to go ahead and play a booster behind Gauntlet Buster because I do want the threat to be there. So, alright, yeah, so we'll just stop there. And then we're just going to go ahead and attack for 33 through crit. Let's see if our opponent bothers to block it. Alright, so our opponent threw down heavy amounts of cards to block our attack, which is completely cool with us. Obviously that means he didn't have a PG. And he also fears what's going on. So, we're also going to give our crit and power to Death Scythe. So either way, you guys see how this deck is a major threat, just because I did check double damage or double drive trigger, which is just fortunate. But at the same time, you're able to see how he wasted so much shield guarding Gauntlet Buster that he kind of has to just take the rear guard attacks now, because he wasted so much shield, or not wasted, but you know, he had to guard those attacks. And then we're attacking for 27 for 2 crit, and he's taking it. So he literally just ate 4 damage, even though he didn't take Gauntlet Buster. So and our opponent only has 5 cards in hand, 4 now that he rode, so it's going into the end. Let's see if he goes Force 1 or Force 2. Okay, so he chose to go Force 2. I guess he wants to put a little bit of damage on. He called Double Overlord, that's interesting. And he's calling a booster. It seems like he's going all in because he doesn't have a PG, maybe. Alright, seems like he's soul blasting for both overlords to give them power, leaving him 1 soul left to do the end ability, so that's cool. 23 to Vanguard. We're gonna block that. Vanguard attacks for 13. He seems like he's not going to boost, so we're just going to throw down a 2 to pass. He checks a PG. That's cool for him. And he checks another PG. So this guy's definitely dead next turn. That is for sure. So our opponent's going to counter blast 1, soul blast 1, and restand. And then attack us for 18. We're actually going to PG this one, dropping the Death Scythe. He does check a critical trigger and puts it all to the rearguard Overlord. However, even if he attacks Vanguard, we're just going to take it because that's not going to kill us. and we are completely confident that we can kill him next turn. So no guard, like I said. We take 2 damage. First one's a Gauntlet Buster. Second one's a heal trigger. We don't heal though because he is at 5. But this gives us a lot of counterblast to do all the shenanigans that we want to do. So we are going to go ahead and, like the animators we are, call final turn. Alright, so then we're not going to ride. We are going to go ahead and use Gauntlet Buster skill, Counterblast, and discard the Phoenix. Rising Phoenix skill. We gotta call it to the rearguard circle. And then we are also going to use Thunder Break to counterblast 1. Move its draw trigger to the front row. And then we are just going to go in. So since this 12 can't hit his Vanguard, we're going to swing for the rear guard, making his front row open again. And then we're swinging with Vanguard for 33. He's going to PG. We already know that he has 2 PGs in his hand and 4 cards, but basically multiple attacks that he needs to block. So we check no damage trigger, or no drive triggers, if you will. And then we know that he's going to need 2 separate cards to guard these attacks, and he only has a PG and something else in his hand, so he has to take one of these 2 attacks. So he's choosing the PG, the 17. Leaving him with no cards in his hand, and we are going to attack him with Death Scythe for game, hopefully. Hopefully he doesn't heal out of it. Alright, he didn't heal out of it. So we won the game, boys and girls. Alright, so that's game 1. Got our next opponent. I think this is the same Kagura player, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously can't tell because the name's in Japanese, but I guess we're about to find out. They picked the same character. That's the only reason why I'm assuming it's the same person. So we are going first. So we're just going to put back these 2 grade 0s. Our hand's pretty good. We're fighting Messiah this time, or at least Link Joker. It's pretty interesting, so we're going to go ahead and ride Rai. Draw a card. We drew Zuiton, that's pretty nice. So our opponent draws, rides Duskblade, draws a card. Our opponent plays a booster. Didn't really need to, but you know, whatever. We're gonna no guard. Our opponent crits us again. Alright, so this is starting off just like the Kagura match where we get crit on turn 1, but little do they know that's part of our master plan. Alright, so we damage check a Thunder Break and damage check a Gauntlet Buster. So no draw trigger this time. Draw for turn. We're gonna ride Cho-Oh. No Cho-Oh skill because no front row. And then we are going to play Zuiton and keep the rest of these cards in our hand. So let's go ahead and attack for 9. No guard. Nice, we got a crit. We crit him back. Like I said, it's part of our master plan, right? So our opponent checks a damage trigger. If our opponent checks 2 damage triggers, I'll be pretty sad, but it is what it is. Okay, nice. So our opponent either has to give us a damage or a card in hand. Nice. Alright. We're doing pretty good so far. Zuiton skill now procs. going to skill or going to soul and drawing a card, which we drew a cello, so that's pretty nice. Ride. And that card binds cards, so good thing that we got Zuitan out of harm's way. Use Destiny Dealer. Call a locked card. I actually don't know why he did that ability because we're just going to bind his stuff anyways, but you know. People do crazy stuff sometimes. Alright, so we're gonna no guard that. We don't get crit this time, so that's amazing. Damage check. No trigger. And the Destiny Dealer can't hit us because it's 8k. So we're gonna stand and draw. Ride Gauntlet Buster. Go Accel 2. And then we are going to call this Thunder Break here. Call this here. See what I want to do. There's no way to. I want to reach this this grade 1 by using Thunder Break. Well, I guess we have 3 counter boss. We could do it. Yeah, why not? All right, so let's do it. So let's call Cholo. Counter boss 1. Bind. Move this card up. Then we're gonna use Thunder Break. Make him move his other card up as well. And then we're gonna use Gauntlet Buster. And discard our Phoenix. Making it free because we're gonna get our Phoenix back immediately. While also clearing out his front row. Alright, so we're going to leave everything else in our hand as is. And then we're just going to attack for 33 through crit. Our opponent does happen to have a PG. So good for our opponent. However, that does not mean that my opponent's out of the water yet. Just because of things like this, like he has to still block 3 more rear guards. Oh man, we checked double trigger again. We are a sack, guys. We are super sack. Alright, so let's go ahead and swing for 17. Hope that he doesn't hit a damage trigger. Alright, nice. No damage trigger. So both of these attacks will be pressuring for 2 crit. Let's see if he can guard them. Oh wow, he has to PG again. The question is, does he even have a grade 3 left in his hand to ride? 22 2 crit. And he guards. Alright, I hope that last card in his hand is a grade 3. Or he's G-assisting next turn. Draw. Okay, he rode Greyon. Cool. Does he goes Force 1 or Force 2? Alright, he went Force 1. Use a skill, counter boss 2, delete me. Cool. I'm cool with that. And then he calls the heal trigger. I don't even know why he would bother, but you know, whatever. We were gonna no guard anyways. Check 1, Brent Ringer. Check 2, PG. So at least he got another PG. That's cool. Oh man, we did hit a draw trigger on defensive. That's pretty swole. Our opponent is now going to Soul Blast and bind 1. Alright, he chose to hit one of our Thunder Breaks. No biggie. Draw. Right, Thunder Break. I forgot to call a final turn. I'm sad. This game only lets you call a final turn like at the very, very beginning of the turn. before any other actions. Sad day. Alright, so we're going to use Thunder Break to move that heal to the front, because we always want to make our opponent lose as much advantage as we can. Even every card matters, basically, is what I'm saying. I don't know why my opponent's taking so long to move that heal trigger forward. Come on, there we go. Alright, now we're going to call Death Scythe, skill, Soul Blast 2, find that heal, and we're just going to keep the rest of our hand. So go ahead and swing for 30. Our opponent's going to PG. So if we check even one trigger, I think that will end the game. One, two. Alright, our opponent gets another turn to live. Purely because of that PG. But our opponent has no cards in hand, so we're not really worried about it. Our opponent checks a grade 3 as damage. And we pass turn. So good thing we didn't call final turn. Our opponent is not, then again calling the trigger again. I don't even know why. Like at that point I would just save it for guard. But I guess my opponent thinks like I won't live anyways, so it's kind of just like I'll just do this. PG, get rid of Phoenix. 1, 2, oh man, 2 grade 3s as drive checks. Might as well just concede, homie. If he doesn't concede, hopefully he doesn't concede. Alright, now we final turn him. Alright, so we don't have a grade 3 to ride, which is whatever, but call, and then call, and we keep the rest of this in our hand. Attack Vanguard for 19. Alright, and that was the game. So our second game went well. As you guys can see, Narukami is quite the powerful deck. And our rate is going up really high just because of our win streak. I will tell you guys for a fact, Nubatama had our win streak going down, because that deck was so hard to pull off wins with. Like, even when I was playtesting it, it was just ridiculous, like, how weak that deck was. I think that deck is objectively the weakest deck of this set. So we either got the same person. I feel like this is either the Kagura player or the Messiah Brant player. Well, let's find out. Alright, so our opponent's going first this time. Our hand is kinda okay, kinda trash. We need a grade 3. Alright, so our hand is fixed. Oh, okay, so maybe this is neither. Or maybe this is one of the same people and they just switch decks really fast. Alright, so I'm gonna say based off of this alone, this ride alone, that this looks like it's gonna be the Soul Saver Palamedes deck. But let's wait and find out. Yep. Oh, we see a Pongal dropped. Seems like my theory is being supported further. Alright, we draw for turn. We're gonna ride Demolition Dragon. Use our starter skill to draw. And then we're just going to swing. If our opponent lets it hit, we get to draw a free card. Nice. We're always about that free card advantage. Damage check to Kane. Okay, this is definitely a Soul Saver build. Like, I would be shook if it's not. Alright, we drew a PG, which is actually super useful in this matchup. And by this matchup, I don't mean Royal Paladin, I just mean Soul Saver, because those attacks get ridiculously big. And he's probably going to go Force 2. So our opponent rides Blaster Blade. That's interesting. Maybe this is like a hybrid, against a lot Soul Saver hybrid. The Kane counterboss 1 searches the Pongal. Pongal's going to Soul Charge 1, and if it's a trigger, get 5k. The card that Soul Charge was a PG. Alright, so I had to ride a PG, and it's also Soul Charge to PG. So Gauntlet Buster is looking like it's going to be real strong when Gauntlet Buster hits the board. My opponent's already lacking on PGs. We're going to guard this attack with a crit. Because we already know Blaster Blade swinging in for 2 crit, and we don't want to take extra damage. Alright, our opponent did not check a crit. Good stuff. If we can check a damage check, that would be great out of these 2 checks. Alright, we did not get a damage check. That's kind of sucky. But Gordon attacks us for 10. We're just going to let that fly. Alright, heal trigger. Nice. We do heal. Alright, so we're not at too high damage. Bad thing for our opponent is our opponent committed really hard, so now we get to punish our opponent for doing that. Cho skill. Counterboss 1. Let's find the Sakane. Move this Pongal up. Let's call Zuiton. Call Death Scythe skill. Get rid of the Gordon. Zuiton skill. He gets 5,000. And then we are going to call both of our Demolition Dragons. And we have 2 grade 3s and a 0, so we're just going to keep it right there. We are actually going to swing into this Pongal because I want to be able to draw off of Zuiton. As weird as that sounds. We do check the heal trigger, so that's cool. Alright, so we're going to be swinging for 24 first. No guard. Our opponent damage check Blaster Blade. Now Zuiton goes into Soul. And I draw. Very nice, another PG. And we attack for 28. I think we won this game already based off of the information that we've seen. Just him having so many PGs gone. And us having 2 PGs. And he overextended, so we were able to blow up his board. Okay, so rides cancel a lot. I did not expect that. I definitely expected the Soul Saver ride. Our opponent goes Force 1. Typical. Calls Blaster Blade. Good thing the Blaster Blade doesn't get a drive check yet because we're not grade 3. Alright, so he used the Burst Blade or Blaster Blade or whatever the ability of Blaster Blade is called, to blow up our front row unit. And then he calls this bird. I feel like our opponent's being really aggressive for knowing what they're playing against, but that's just me. Our opponent attacks us for 13. We're gonna straight just take a lot of damage this turn because we don't want to throw away anything in our hand right now. Alright, Rising Phoenix. Our opponent attacks for 23. No guard. Check 1, the bird. Check 2, draw trigger, but it's not a PG draw, which is amazing for us. For him, not so much. He's about to feel that full wrath of Gauntlet Buster, really, next turn. Attack for 42. No guard. And right. And draw. Right, Gauntlet Buster. Let's go Accel 2. Yeah, this actually works out. So what we're gonna do is we're going to use Gauntlet Buster, counter boss 1. Let's go ahead and drop the PG. And then move this up. We are going to use Thunder Break to move his Gordon up. And then we're going to call Recklessness Dragon. Get rid of this card. And then we're going to use Death Scythe to get rid of his other card. And we keep the remaining cards in our hand. Let's go ahead and attack for 3 crit. Let's see if he can block it. Oh, yep, he can't even block that, so draw trigger. Alright, so knowing that he has to heal out of this, we definitely want to go right here, because we'll still be able to hit if he heals out. And a Zubicon. And proceed with 3 damage. One critical trigger. Power to Vanguard. 2 Wingle. 3 critical trigger. Alright guys, so that was the game. That's probably been the quickest future fight out of all of the ones that I've done with the Cardfight EX game. So if you guys liked the video, that has been it. But if you guys liked the video, be sure to leave a like on the video. It helps a lot more than you guys think. Be sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell button so that you don't have to miss any future Cardfight Empire content. Also, be sure to check out Let's Plays Animes, Team Vision, and be sure to consider pressing the join button to check out what more there is for you from the channel. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace, guys.